we think that the transformation 3.0 kicks off today. Transformation 1.0 is when people were figuring out what to do. Transformation 2.0 is when people laid out the foundations. And you guys played a big role in that, helping us lay out the foundations of transformations by setting up these hubs that manage these financial institutions and these cities. There is a very high affinity and a very high appetite for change. Uh, Change is not something that's looked upon negatively. People embrace change. They want to do things differently. Many of our customers like to be the first in doing something.
Okay, so this is the next episode of our podcast named Visionaries. Today I'm in a GITEX in Dubai and I have a chance to speak to Rami and ask him about his vision of the future of the technology. Hi, Rami.
Hello, how are you?
Okay, so Rami, Vice President for Middle East and Turkey. So can we start with you telling a little more about Software AG and your role within the organization?
My role is the Senior Vice President for Software AG in what we call MET, Middle East and Turkey. I've been in this role for almost 10 years now. Time flies because it feels like I just started this yesterday. And Software AG has been around since the 60s. We're a company that started from the legacy world and that has eventually a few years ago, even before the notion of transformation became as popular as it is today, started talking about digital transformation, helped customers with their transformation journeys. In this region, this is specifically what we do. We do that with governments, with financial institutions, with many private customers in the region. And we've been on a real exciting growth journey in the last 10 years in the Middle East and Turkey region.
Yeah, that's true. And Middle East as a region, it's currently booming. So what can we perceive each year? There is more business, new companies, new startups, new investments, and new technology are introduced to the region. So I'm wondering if you could tell, what do you think? What are the biggest challenges for the region, technology-wise, and how Software AG can answer for those needs and challenges?
Since we're talking about the region, I want to start with, before the challenges, something that is unique about the Middle East generally. And that is, there is a very high affinity and a very high appetite for change. Change is not something that's looked upon negatively. People embrace change. They want to do things differently. Many of our customers like to be the first in doing something. Yes, credentials matter. Yes, other successes matter. But the fact that you're a first in doing something does not scare people like in other parts of the world.
You need to be brave.
Yes, and we see that, we feel that, we live that with our customers. The urge to be a leader, to be leading the pack, and the really unique thing is that is the DNA of the government here. It's not just the private sector who does that. Again, I think this is very specific to the Middle East region. Government leads the way when it comes to doing things new, when it comes to taking steps towards innovation. And in the context of what we do, that's very important because we thrive in environments that are so vibrant and so receptive to change. Because what we do is really empower that change, really enable that change and make it happen and make innovations a reality for our customers. Challenges, of course, and like anywhere, there are challenges to look at. I think the biggest challenges is the single most challenge for this region is creating the right balance between the change that needs to be done and the journeys that these nations are going through
But there is
But
still a chance for a greenfield project because there is not so much legacy like legacy technology, legacy stuff like in Europe, for example.
absolutely. So there is this greenfield effect here. There is that legacy, especially in a city, for example, like Dubai, where it's a modern city but a relatively new city. You don't find a lot of legacy, and that's also a that also helps the change aspirations, because legacy usually can be a derailer towards these kind of things. Mhm.
What is Software AG vision for all of those changes? How you are becoming more flexible, more brave in your technology? What's new? Because I know there are some new announcements from Software AG.
There is a really big news this GITEX. It's a special GITEX for us. But before I come to that, maybe I look a little bit about the last 10 years and what we've offered and how we've engaged in this region, in this environment of vibrancy and change. Early on, early on in our days in the region, we started by looking at the national objectives, the national priorities. Each city had its own, but there were commonalities, of course. But we started by looking at what are these cities, emirates, countries, nations, regions trying to achieve. I'll give you one subset of that. One example of that is citizen happiness. The notion of citizen happiness is something that is driven all the way from leadership to the stakeholder, which is the individual who lives here in this part of the world. And there's a big focus on constantly revamping, improving, innovating the experience of this stakeholders. And there are serious frameworks and models that have been built by governments in this region to manage that transition. One of the first things we've done is we really understood the dynamics of this, understood the specifics, the KPIs, the measurements.
So
What does it
real
mean?
close with the customers and their needs.
Absolutely. So we embrace that to the full. We started developing expertise in the language of customer happiness in from a government perspective, and we really tailored our solutions, our offerings, our digital offerings to help these nations really ramp up and deliver a unique 7-star experience to people who live here. And the nice part of it is when you do that, as people who live in this part of the world, we consume these services for ourselves. So we also become happier as
Yeah,
a
you're
consequence.
somehow becoming yourself customers in the end.
Exactly, exactly. And one of my favorite things in this aspect is sometimes my children ask me, "What do you do? What do you do at work?" It sometimes it's difficult to explain, and I always like to explain it to them by opening up my phone, opening up an app, and using a government service that I actually consume as someone who lives in Dubai, and it's part of their life. They understand it, and I can tell them, me, help make that service possible for myself and others who live here, and that they can get easily.
I found it really cool. So,
Mm.
this podcast is about the future, about how do we perceive changes, technology, and how it will look like in a few years. So, if you could tell us what is your perspective on Software AG in 5 and 10 years in the region.
In the region. Yeah. So I think the pace of growth in this region of change is not slowing down at all. On the contrary, I see it not just in the UAE, so with the transformation that's happening in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia as well. There is a full throttle, full speed ahead on transformations on multiple aspects, but one fabric that combines them all is technology is seen as a glue that uh, uh, propels these transformations forward. So for us, that fits right in the sweet spot of what we do, because we see more accelerated adoption of what we do, and that will bring me in a minute to the announcement we made yesterday and what it means to these next 5 to 10 years. The other dynamic that we see clearly in this region is the region is becoming more of a global hub. And if you see GITEX this year, it's like the whole world is here. It's not just neighboring countries. Everyone is here. It's unbelievable. I mean, even walking in the alleys is a little bit dangerous because it's so crowded, so busy, in a good way. But even beyond GITEX, I use Dubai as an example because it's the city I call home. It also feels that the whole world is coming here, is visiting here, is interested in knowing about this part of the world, which, if I look back in my years in the region, wasn't the case before. So that's a sort of a socio-economic change that we clearly see, not necessarily from a technology perspective, but that's an essential change that's happening around us.
Yeah.
There are also technology transitions, and I think the two major technology transitions that are already happening in this region and already in different phases of adoption in these regions are AI becoming weaved into the fabric of lives. And it's interesting that some of the biggest AI successes so far are here in
the Middle East,
in this region. And the other dynamic, or the other technology transition, is the move to the cloud. And this move to the cloud is happening, is in full steam ahead. And the way we see that transition happening is transforming the region into a hybrid world. I will not say a cloud-only world. The way we see it, it's clearly moving towards becoming a hybrid world, a mix of consumption model and adoption models, ranging not from legacy, because there is little legacy as we discussed earlier, but from these modern legacy up to the most open of environments, which is the public clouds, and everything in between, private cloud, depending on the type of data, the sensitivity.
Yeah.
There will be
type
a sovereignty.
of organization, actually.
Absolutely, yeah. And is there a sovereignty play in there? Absolutely, yes. So where the data resides is important. So these two transitions, move to cloud and AI, are what I would call the next two technology waves in this region.
So it seems really impressive, like everything is changing and ramping up, so it's really cool. And when do you perceive Savangard in that story?
Well, Savangard is a crucial piece, a crucial element of our ecosystem. And so maybe I take a step back and tell you where I see Software AG in this story, and by consequence, where do I see Savangard? So in this transition, or in these transitions, technology transitions, in the socio-economic development of the region, I think Software AG will play a bigger and bigger role.
Yeah,
because
each year it plays a bigger role.
Absolutely. And what we announced yesterday is really at absolutely the right time, at the catching the wave of this transition, because we talked about AI and we talked about move to the cloud. Integration cannot be more crucial in both these transitions. The integration in all aspects, and we spoke about the 5 aspects of integration in our big launch yesterday. And we think that the transformation 3.0 kicks off today. Transformation 1.0 is when people were figuring out what to do. Transformation 2.0 is when people laid out the foundations. And you guys played a big role in that, helping us lay out the foundations of transformations by setting up these hubs that manage these financial institutions and these cities that we operate in. Transformation 3.0 is where more realizable value outcomes start popping up at a much higher frequency, in line with the transformation speed, with integration at the core. And Savangard has at least as big a role to play, because to make these value outcomes realized, you need expertise, you need delivery capabilities, you need people who share the same vision as we do. And Savangard is a perfect example of all these three.
Yeah, that is true. We are truly committed to integration, innovation, and of course software AG. So this is the story and the region itself.
Mm.
So just coming back to you, to Rami. So how do you see your growth, your career? What will be next? Because if I may ask, of course.
Well, at the moment, I am enjoying this journey. It's exciting to be here. Over the past 10 years, I cannot keep track of how many times we've multiplied. It's very, I would say roughly top of head, maybe 15 times in terms of number of people, in terms of the business we do. And I don't see that slowing down. And that for me is where I'd like to become a bigger region. Middle East and Turkey met, becoming bigger and bigger, becoming contributing more and more to the grander software AG, in the new life of software AG, in the new vision that software AG is taking. We want to be really one of the fastest, most important regions for software AG, working with partners like yourselves. And that's my aspiration. That's what I love to do and what I love to continue doing.
I'm following you for last few years, and I'm seeing that vision is becoming true itself. So it's really beautiful to follow. So please tell me, because your role sounds like a really great responsibility, and I'm wondering what was the biggest and the toughest challenge in your career?
Well, there has been a few. I go back around 9 years. And in software AG early days, at that time,
At the very beginning of your journey, right?
with software AG,
Yeah.
when I first took over the role in software AG, one of the first important meetings I've had was with a very senior government official, very well-known gentleman. He has a position of a minister today, and I was introduced to him, and again in the context of a transformation journey they were undertaking. And I said something to him in our first meeting. I used the word, as a vendor, we could do that for you. And he stopped me. He immediately stopped me, and he said that if you consider yourself a vendor, we're not really interested in continuing this conversation, because we're looking for partners. If you are a partner, if you think yourself as a potential partner for us, this will make sense for you and for us. And that was a little bit of a shock, because it put me on the spot in a very important meeting, but also something that stayed with me. And it's also a representation of how our customers need to view us, and it changed a lot in how we run our business in this region. We do not start and consider ourselves a vendor who needs to sell software, and we change our mindset to becoming a partner to these customers, and a partner that can help them grow. And when we do that, we grow ourselves. And I think that has been a very important part of our success, and what started as an awkward moment really ended up driving our DNA and driving our mindset as a technology provider here in this
Yeah.
region.
Yeah, precisely. The most healthy business relations are when you're growing with your partner, with your customer at the same time. So it's a joint effort, actually.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
I totally agree with that.
Yeah, and you're still growing as an organization, and I know that there's a new thing, stream sets. Can you tell more when it will be live, and when could we meet all of this technology in your portfolio?
Well, we already have live customers here in the UAE.
No, really?
We already have started with stream sets, and if I link that to the iPass or Super iPass launch, the new vision, the new paradigm of integration. So data integration and application integration. So the world of web methods and the world of stream sets, if I want to go product terminology here, have historically both been separate arenas.
Yeah.
And
Completely different worlds.
Different worlds. And our vision is that these worlds do not and should not be different. And it kind of defeats the purpose of integration, because integration by definition is all about defeating silos. And if you create silos within integration, then you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot. So with this new Super iPass vision, stream sets represents a critical part, and it's going to be a immense growth engine for us going forward. It's going to bring a lot of value to our customers, because I've mentioned the transition. One of the transition I mentioned is AI. You can imagine how much data AI needs in order to be intelligent. The
You need
intelligence
to
goes without.
feed all of the models with data.
Of course, an AI without data is just a algorithm. That's the reality of the matter. And with stream sets and with the Super iPass vision, this is where we can create value in use cases, because we're really feeding the AI learning data sets that the AI can learn, utilize, and needs more, and it needs to ingest more and more. We build the pipes, and these pipes can be as efficient and as productive as possible. And stream sets is our core offering in that, and that's why it's a crucial component of our Super iPass launch that we so proudly and so in a very big way launched yesterday out of Dubai, by the way. So
that's why I'm so proud to be there and to have a chance to follow how it's changing. And when you announced the Super iPass and the entire story, where, just like you said, StreamSet was the missing part of it, and now it's complete. So it's a great thing to see. So I think, thank you, Rami. It was really great to have you here and have a chance to discuss and get your insights about the future technology and strategy. So thank you one more time.
Thank you for having me.